But facing the witness is not the end of Destiny 2. And it's definitely not the end of Destiny. After you face the witness, we're going to tell you what's coming next to Destiny 2 and beyond.
Tell me lies, tell me sweet little lies.
But facing the witness is not the end of Destiny.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, back to the counselor's office. That's right, we're talking about Destiny. We're not doing This Week in Destiny because mostly it's just the same old crap that we already know. Nothing really going on, but I mean, we've got some big news, ladies and gentlemen. Big news. So much news coming out. I mean, I've got articles about the new, the Destiny 2 anniversary being leaked. More clarification on the state of Destiny 2. Like, there is so much stuff about Destiny that overall doesn't look at, and we can do a video about the anniversary stuff later, but like, most people are not excited. Let's get some tunes on, shall we? Most people are not excited for Destiny anymore. I mean, look at the player base. Oops. Not what I wanted. Thank you, sir. Look at the player base. 50% or 49, about 50%, and then 10 more percent. And we just had this Solstice event come out. And look, we're back to where we were in Lightfall, like, seasons. And that was literally considered one of the worst years, was Lightfall. And we are already there, only like a month or so after the final shape. That's not good. Now, this isn't a Destiny's dead video, because I mean, we can all tell that Destiny is already dying. So much so that Sony is stepping in. Let's see. Here we go. Sony president, CFO Hiroki Toki provided some details on the restructuring on Bungie. When I hear restructuring and the fact that Sony is getting involved, I told you all that this might be the Sony takeover time. I hope they do. I feel like this is Sony getting, like, Bungie, the leaders at Bungie. Let's be very honest. There's developers who love this game and they put a lot of effort to making a good game. But the leaders at Bungie don't know what they're doing, and they haven't known what they're doing. Literally, they almost killed their company and almost went into insolvency. And that's why they sold off to Sony, right? There's a reason why they gave up their freedom, because they were proud to be, we're standing alone, but the leaders are incompetent and don't know what they're doing. And so they sold themselves to Sony. They oversold to Sony. They lied to Sony saying, hey, this is what's going on. And now they're paying for it. Well, specifically, the employees are paying for it. They're losing their jobs. But Sony is coming in and is going to optimize overall studio structure. They're going to cost restruct and portfolio optimization. This says that they're going to take care, they're going to make sure that Bungie is using their money smartly instead of being stupid. Because they've been stupid. Like, where they opened up a new company building and then they closed it a couple of months later. Bungie back office function will integrate into CIE. So there we go. We got more merging into Sony. So you're going to see more of that happening. Other title developments at Bungie will be transferred to PlayStation Studios. That's a key, because they want Bungie resources to concentrate into Destiny 2. It's like, hey, your company, you are known for Destiny. Stop it. Stop trying to do all this other bullcrap. Focus on your breadwinner, which is something that the players have been wanting since Lightfall. Like, we had amazing Witch Queen, and then the decline of just everything went downhill from there. And then they started bringing all these people back for Lightfall, and guess what? It turned out to be pretty good. Now, is it like 10 out of 10 in my opinion? No, there's a lot of glaring issues that I have with the final shape. But overall, I think it was good enough for the end of a story. And then Marathon, which is another kind of like a Hail Mary for Bungie, which did not pan out, by the way. They had people from the extraction shooter community try it out and didn't like it. So much so that Bungie's made it now apparently into a hero shooter. So that's going to be interesting. So Valorant players have tried playing it. But that's not all. Bungie has gone out of their way to break more things. That's right. Bungie, when they released the Pathfinder, they made it to where you're getting less bright dust. Now, for those of you who don't care about bright dust, this is a nothing burger to you, like whatever. But for people who always did their weeklies, they always like to collect bright dust so they can get the free weekly rotations on like cosmetics. This is their way of getting in-game currency to get things from the store without actually spending cash money. So it's a big deal. We have games like Warframe, which has currency that you pay for, but then you can trade with players, you can buy things, you can sell things, so you can farm up like new characters and guns, and you can sell them to other people, and you can use that to then buy stuff from the store. Like, it's a really good system, and it's probably one of the few systems, I think, in the gaming community that actually really thrives, which is why Warframe is pretty popular. But they changed things to Pathfinder, and you're getting reduced rates. And so that's why now we're all getting free bright dust to make good with the fact that they made a crap system. Like, no one likes, like, people like fundamentally the idea of Pathfinder, but no one likes the ritual Pathfinder because you're still the biggest issue people had was being gate kept into having to play something they didn't want to play. Instead of just making specific Pathfinders for specific things, they slapped it together, and now you're forced to have to play things you don't want to play, which is bad design, in my opinion. But why are we talking about this kind of stuff? It's because we just had layoffs. Bungie is not doing hot. They're getting bad press, and it's bad. More and more are being added, and Bungie themselves is not doing anything to save their own game. I almost, like, I'm making this video because it almost feels like someone in the company is sabotaging the company with some of the decisions. So this new update that came out, let's go just for the patch notes. They nerfed, let's see, they nerfed the sticky grenade option on Mountaintop. So this used to be a popular tech for speedrunners. They nerfed that. Why? When only 1% of the players were using it? And it's just baffling that they were showing, like, they were trying to promote, hey, speedrunners, people of like the 1% of the community that's like a diehard dedicated to playing the game. Hey, we're going to take something that you really enjoy and we're nerfing it for no apparent reason. But in doing so, they actually nerfed Mountaintop. Like, it doesn't, the blast radius is not as good anymore. People were upset that they nerfed conditional finality, which they say it was a bug. We've had this gun for how many years? And it's been used to kill people out of wells. And now you're just gonna tell people it's a bug? This is the stuff that people don't like about Bungie. They lie. And they're not transparent either. Like, there's no shot that you can go years without saying it's a bug. And that you only allowed it because of Well and Ward. Either it was true and it was a bug and they let it for that reason, and they're not being transparent, which is a problem that people have with Bungie, is that they're not being transparent. If you knew it was a bug and you let it because people were complaining about Well and Bubble, the reason they didn't say that is because they didn't have a plan to deal with Well and Bubble. For multiple years, people have complained about that in PvP, like, oh, it's too broken, you need to deal with this, you need to deal with this. And it wasn't until recently that they finally dealt with it. Like, so you either are lying or you're being truthful, and you just kept the information from the players because you knew if you did, you would be forced to actually have to do something about the main problem, which was Well and Bubbles. It's mind-boggling. Also, they broke Graviton Lance. That's right. They changed issues, apparently, and I don't know if it's connected. I'm assuming it's connected. People are assuming it's connected, but in changing the RPM, it's supposed to be a visual, but what they did is they actually made Graviton Lance shoot slower. Not like it does more damage or anything. It just shoots slower. They broke Graviton Lance. They nerfed it for no reason. But on top of that, let's go to here. All these Destiny changes look horrid. Nuked Getaway Artist Synergy. Yeah, so they nerfed the ability to be able to use Arc Souls to get Devour. Now, it says hits. I don't know if it, because I don't use Devour myself. I'm a Hellion stan. I love Hellion, especially with big explosions, especially with some of the artifact mods we got currently with Solar, Fulmination, all that stuff. But if you're telling me that getting kills with Arc Soul doesn't activate Devour, I'm annoyed. Hits, maybe you can argue, but the fact that they didn't come out and say, hey, this is a known issue, this is a bug, we're going to fix this in the future, be prepared, I think the community would have been okay with that. But again, they just out of nowhere nerfed it. And that's what you're seeing with a lot of these things. They're just outright nerfing things instead of giving they're not communicating with the community. They're not telling the community. You have developers like Warframe that have live streams that actually showcase and explain things. They talk to the community. Hey, this is our train of thought. This is our Bungie. It's like, screw you. Hell, even the First Descendant sends out dev notes explaining their process and what they're doing and why they're doing it. They say, we're going to nerf this. This is why. This is our plans of change. This is what our thoughts on it. Bungie doesn't do that. And that's why people do not like Bungie. They were listen, Into the Light was fantastic. They were stepping in the right direction. They were communicating, giving their train of thought. And then somewhere down the line, they're like, no, we're not going to do that no more. No. Like the way you keep a community, the way you keep your players from leaving your game is by fostering that community, integrating yourself in the community. Instead, we have Pete Parsons over on his yacht with his 23 cars, like he's out on the lake looking at his 23 cars lined up on the beach, sucking on a margarita while everyone's like getting fired. Like, this is why people don't like Bungie. This is why people don't trust Bungie. But again, they're actively shooting themselves in the foot. Envious lose stacks when you swap anything. They didn't just change it like to swap the perks. Literally, Envious, any mod, clown cartridge, anything that involves ammo, any synergy like ammo, like stacking your ammo. If you swap any mod in your kit, your ammo gets completely reset. That is stupid. You're telling me I'm in the middle of a fight and I notice, oh crap, man, I'm getting hit. I need to change my mod in a raid real quick. I gotta change my resistance. Like their arc, I need to swap in the arc. Oh, all of that ammo that you have had in your heavy or your whatever weapon, that's completely reset and clean. Like it almost kills anything that Envious Assassin, Ambition Assassin, those are now almost worthless, and you're better off just using something else until they get this fixed. Movement tech being nerfed. Ammo rocket ammo nerf. Accidental grav nerf. Like, my thought is they also nerf still hunt and listen, I think that nerfs should eventually happen. I don't like nerfs. I think in PvP, you can argue if PvP is different. It's a competitive state. Nerfs need to happen, right? Nerfs need to happen to be fair and balanced. And if something's overly broken, that's understandable. But when you release something new, just barely out of the box, it's like still hunt and all these other things, instead of just letting it play out and letting people enjoy it, Bungie comes in and is like, hey, introducing more bad news, even though you already have a negative viewpoint of us, we're going to do more unfun things and just nerf everything. We're not going to communicate to you our thought process. We're not, like, they changed the 25 to 33% rant at the last minute. Like, hey guys, 33 nerf. Listen, I know there's a lot of people like, oh man, I'm so glad they nerfed this. I'm tired of hunters. Listen, just because you have a personal jealousy that your class sucks balls compared to hunter and still hunt, that's a you issue. No one's stopping you from playing other guns and other characters. No one's stopping you. It's almost like the whole economy argument, like, oh, well, because so-and-so has 25,000 legendary shards and little Timmy struggles to get it. We need to get rid of them because it's not fair, even though it makes no goddamn sense when it has no direct impact. What other people use has no impact except for PvP. It really doesn't. But instead of promoting this community of conversation with Bungie giving their insight and then letting things play out and actually letting people enjoy things like still hunt, people enjoy the fun, but instead they just straight up nerf it. Like that there's a reason why I never will buy ornaments from the store, because there is no guarantee that they're just not going to straight out nerf the new toy. In fact, I'm overly convinced that they ship things powerful and strong because they already plan on nerfing it in the future. They have where they want it and they put it up top to make sales. And my foil hat is that things are going downhill, so Bungie's like, okay, we're not making any more sales. Time to nerf it so we don't have to deal with it later. That's just my distrust for a company that has not done anything to earn trust. Again, this is a problem. I called it out a problem, saying that it would be reducing your bright dust costs in a far away video several months ago, and I was right. And I think this perfectly encapsulates the problem. What a comment on my recent video. Bungie should put this in a slideshow for the next town hall. Thoughts? So let's read it. Unfortunately, I can't read it like that. So let's read it from here. You could feel our D2 money going literally everywhere except Destiny. Very true. They told us a single Whisper ornament paid for an entire mission, but somehow every new activity felt anemic and bare bones. And that's the problem with Destiny. Every activity, battlegrounds, everything just seems like generic trash. Solstice is a perfect example of doing absolutely nothing. And I'm gonna do a review on it and everything. They literally could have just do the bare minimum of maybe adding dread and subjugators. I don't think they did. I had to double check because I never got the rotation, but I'm pretty certain that they didn't do that. But they literally could have spiced things up. They could have made an expert mode that makes it more challenging, but you get more loot out of it. Like, they didn't do the bare minimum. And I know it's free, but that's not an excuse for a live service game. That is not excuse. That is not an excuse. It's free. So, okay. Then you're going to lose players. Who cares if it's free? If it's trash, no one's sticking around. Solstice didn't bring people back, and I wonder why. I used to buy silver, but I stopped because I could tell I was bankrolling other games and my money wasn't going back into D2. D2 was the only thing they currently had income from, and they put our money towards canceled projects while telling us they couldn't afford employees for new D2 armor sets. Exactly. That was the excuse. Oh, we can't afford it. It takes a lot of time and money to do it. And yet we were told that spending money and all these other things would support missions like the Whisper mission. I remember they made a big deal about, hey, you're supporting us to make these missions. What about the rest of the game? You're telling me that suddenly we can't afford to make good armor sets. We can't afford to do all these other things. Hell, the bare minimum of having a harder difficulty mode that gives you more loot. Like, that's too hard? That takes too much money? Oh, wait, you're right, because they fired everyone that probably could do it. It's so baffling to me that we are here and we didn't have to be here. The whole, we're listening to you really didn't work out. Let's see, let's go to my bookmarks. I think I had something. Here we go. So, this is from Bungie themselves. We know that recent changes at Bungie have created uncertainty in surrounding the future of Destiny. It's also your inconsistency with transparency. Rest assured, we remain committed to Destiny to support our community with transparency and deliver regular updates about the game. No, you're not committed. Sony is forcing you to commit to it after you try to branch out and do whatever the crap you want instead of focus on the game that matters. Sony's forcing you. We'll be talking with you all about the future of Destiny and plans for our next multi-year journey once we plant a flag for the date. We'll let you all know. Thank you for your patience, and we'll see you again soon. Again, transparency. All the nerfs that we got, where's the transparency on that? Why are we just finding out things that have been going on for years that suddenly weren't, like conditional finality was a bug? Okay, why wasn't that translated 2 years ago? Transparency. But it's not even just that. We go back to bookmarks. Here's what's been leaked. Let's just kind of take a look. Here's what we know about the future of Destiny per reports. And these are from credible reports, people who reported the final shape. I would definitely trust them. No more annual expansions. That's right. They're doing no more expansions. We're smaller content packs, 2 per year. New destinations, raids, dungeons. Rebranding Destiny 2. Smoother onboarding to attract new players. Again, they talked about how it's hard for new players to get in, and we would agree. We've been saying that for years, and Bungie refused to do it because it didn't make money. Well, guess what? They weren't making money because new players didn't want to play your stupid game because the introduction sucked balls. You literally slap in the new Red War campaign, and people can finally play the game. They can understand the reason for Destiny 2. But we got confirmation that we will see raids and dungeons, which is great. People were comparing it to Shadowkeep, but maybe at a slight smaller scale. I think that's more bite-sized. I think the era of Forsaken and the Final Shape and even Witch Queen, I think we're done with that. I don't think we're going to ever have that ecstasy of excitement for Destiny in that regard anymore. I think you're going to get Shadowkeep. Which, if you don't like it, which most people didn't, and if I were to go look at Shadowkeep's score, I'm pretty sure Shadowkeep is pretty ranked very lowly. So that's any indication for the future. I'm a little scared. News came out, I don't know if it's even here, but apparently news came out that they did not like the fact that it's all a bunch of old people playing Destiny. Like, they want people from other groups to come in. And that's like one of the main things with them is, and I get it. I understand. People are getting upset that they're, oh, Bungie's is focusing not on the veteran players, and they're calling us old. And listen, we are getting old. We're also getting jaded, and they do need new players. But the problem with their concept of just focusing on rebranding and getting new players is the people who are playing your game now are your veterans, your dedicated fan base. If you start focusing on other people and also not at them at the same time, you're gonna lose it. I mean, did you think that 50% were dedicated players that left? No, these were casual. These were new players. But when you packaged the final shape as the final saga, and you didn't really give an indication of a big new journey, and all this information's come out that, oh wow, we don't know what's going on in the future. We got layoffs. We're no big content anymore. Blah blah blah. Like, yeah, people are not going to be excited to play the game because they think the game's dead. And anyone who looks at data knows that that is a dying game. You don't lose 50% of your player base. Sorry, about 60% of your player base, and expect to call it a thriving, living game. If anything, the bare minimum you could say about Destiny 2 is that it's on life support. And I don't want it to die. I've invested far too many hours, almost 9,000 hours combined for this account and my other account. And then if we're including Destiny 1, that's almost 10,000 hours. I have lived and I have breathed Destiny. I have been through controversy with Bungie. But the problem with Bungie is always the same. They do the best when they're backed in a corner, but as soon as they get out of the corner. They lay off the gas. They get lazy. They get they stop being transparent. Like look into Light. Into Light, they start getting traction. They were communicating. They were really heavily involved, and they're with just in communication and transparency was just off the charts. Like we were going in a good direction, and now we've just dived right back off a cliff. No transparency, no explanation, no understanding. Hell, again, they still don't understand that people want fun, and they're killing the fun. They're not promoting fun. They're making people leave. Like the nerfs that have come out and the breaking of their game, they have broke so much in this update. They are incompetent. The person, they're like, people were talking about the first Descendant being a Destiny killer. It's not a Destiny killer. The only Destiny killer that exists is Bungie themselves. The leaders at Bungie's and people who are making these decisions, they are the ones that are killing their game. Bungie has become a laughing stock. It used to be a respectable company, and now it's a joke. People are comparing this to 343. Look how 343 fumbled the legacy of Halo, and now you got Bungie fumbling their own legacy. It's just so annoying that the two, like all these companies that I enjoy are just pumping out stupid choices. My hope, and I know this is not going to be a popular opinion, I hope Sony takes over. I hope they completely take over and they force Bungie in their head, just grab their head and force it into the screen and say, make a good game. Stop screwing around. Make a game that people want to play. There's so many people ready to jump on this kind of market. People who are craving the gunplay that Destiny has. People want to like Destiny. People do. Even though people rag on it and call it a garbage, dead game. Like I've had people say that in my comment section all the time. I still play it occasionally, even though I'm playing a lot of the first Descendant. But let's be honest. Destiny and Bungie have become the end of a butt joke. No one takes this game serious anymore. To everyone's eyes, the final shape was the last straw. It is the end. People are leaving. There's nothing that's exciting people. No one cares about loot because what am I going to use the loot on? Oh, we don't know because Bungie hasn't advocated or said, hey, we got so many big things that you definitely want to be able to use these guns on. What am I going to use my new guns on? Bonfire Bash? Man, that was really hard. Man, if only they had harder difficulty on that, maybe I cared a little more. It's just the choices that they are making currently. Like you can't blame the 220 or the 120 whatever people that got moved away. You can't blame them because they're fired. It's actively the people at the company that are making stupid choices now. Granted, could they have just pumped out Bonfire Bash way before the Solstice stuff way before layoffs were announced? Probably. But the fact that they didn't put any increment of effort into improving that just says everything and why people don't care about this game anymore. I'm holding on by a thread. Like I'm hoping there's hopium. The only hope that is there is Sony. That is the only thread that holds me to having some faith in this game. It's not Bungie anymore. It is Sony. That is it. Hope that we get I hope we do get a Destiny 3 because it's going to be hopefully made by Bungie, but overseen and controlled by Sony. I think if they get some of the very good creative people from other games like God of War, Horizon Zero, I mean, even Spider-Man, like take people that really know what they're doing to make good stories, and maybe they can make something new and fresh with Destiny 3. That's the only way I can see Destiny 3 being stand-out-ish from Destiny 2, is that they have new blood, people from different games who have really good story capabilities. And not to say Bungie doesn't, but I think they've run out of juice. I think the Bungie, especially between Destiny in general, but also Halo, I think the creativity is kind of seeping out now, and they need some outside sources, and I think Sony can provide that. That's my opinion. I'm Mr. Gaming Counselor. Hit the like button. No reason for me to cover This week in Destiny, there's nothing new except for sadness. As always, hit the like button, comment down below, and subscribe to the channel. As always, I'm Mr. Gaming Counselor, and until next time, game out. Huzzah.